Now it's time to fold the other pieces of geometry back onto this character, the teeth, tongue, and eyeballs. We'll treat the eyeballs separately, but we can load the teeth and the tongue on top. So go into Setup, let's right-click on File, and Load from the Objects folder our tongue, upper, and lower teeth. Just open all of those, go into the Effects tab, and let's add these teeth and the tongue to our bone deform. So multi-select them with the Shift click or Control click, pick our bone deform, and add those to the deform so they're all influencing it. So we go into Animate and pick one of the controls and move them. You can see that they're deforming the teeth, but they're deforming the teeth and the tongue in a very awkward fashion. So we need to do some creative weighting on our meta effectors to make this happen. Right now we have tiny spherical meta effectors doing massive weighting for all of the islands, and then we have these large soft meta effectors to fade off the cheeks in different areas, but it doesn't take into account the different weighting on the teeth. So we need to change that. So into Setup, and let's close down the body here. Let's expand the head and scroll down until we have our lower and upper jaw meta effectors. Just pick any one of the effectors, our lower teeth, tongue, and upper teeth, add those to the weight list. Now they'll show up, and let's hide the head so that all we have are the teeth and the tongue. Just make these draw weight and edges so we can see what the weighting is doing on the lower jaw, which is the current meta effector weight drawing tool. Let's take a look at our lower jaw. The lower jaw needs to include the teeth fully, and they're not. So unhide, pull down the Control key, change these to edges so we can see the two meta effectors. We're not even getting the all-connected effector intersecting any parts of the lower jaw or the tongue, so we need to change that. I'm going to turn on the head and just make sure the head is weight and wire so we can see through them, and pick the jaw and check to make sure that the head is also a current draw mode. So we need to intersect the lower teeth and the tongue. So just turn on the Y radius. It looks like that's working, and expand the Z radius just a bit. Now it's intersecting more than we need, so just move it back. So now the tongue is working. So if we go into Animate now and animate any of the bones, the tongue works, but it looks like the teeth and the upper mouth are bad. So back into Setup, we have a problem with it intersecting the upper mouth, so we've got that. So back into Animate, looks like the lower teeth are working, but the upper teeth are not. So into Setup and find out why. It looks like we have some weight values on the upper teeth, and we need to exclude those from the lower jaw meta effector. So we need to add another effector to the scene. Let's just pick our all-connected one and duplicate it with the Multiply key, and turn that into a negative effector, and use this effector. Let's set the X, Y, and Z radius to something small again, 0.01, and place this somewhere in the upper teeth to exclude the upper teeth. Now you see when I intersect it, the back teeth go from gray to black. So we've removed the upper teeth. So now we go into Animate, you can see what it's doing. So why is it collapsing like that? Well, there's still some weight issues we have to solve with the upper jaw, which is doing a weighting problem similar to the lower jaw. So the lower jaw is fixed. So let's go to the upper jaw. Let's Control click and hide the lower jaw, and Control click and show the upper jaw meta effectors. Make sure they're set to edges. So our upper jaw now is going to get our draw modes applied, and you can see what the upper jaw is doing. It's throwing some values into the lower jaw and the tongue that we need to exclude. Let's unlock those. So this upper jaw meta effector needs to intersect the upper part of the jaw and the upper teeth. So if we just set the Z radius to something like 0.02 so that it intersects both of those, now we've weighted the upper jaw. Now we need to exclude the lower jaw and the tongue. So let's pick our upper jaw here, duplicate that again, set that to negative, set this to small radius value again, and move these so that they intersect portions of the lower jaw and the tongue. So the tongue's being intersected, but not the teeth. We can duplicate one more and move this over to where the teeth are. Let's go to perspective view. Just move this over one side or the other till it bumps into the teeth. There. So now the teeth are excluded. So when we go back and animate now, nothing is affecting the lower and the upper jaw, and we've excluded one from the other. So the weights all add up to be equal again. We can change this back to smoothen edges and change these back as well. So now we have our control again, and control click hide our meta effector. So all we have left are the jaws. So now we have our tongue working as part of the bone deform, the teeth working as part of the bone deform, and since the bone deform is set, since we have such a long snout here, we can deform the teeth and the jaw at the same time. So what do we do now with the tongue now that this is done? Well, we can do the same thing we did with the lips. Let's go into setup and make sure the dope frame is set to all items just in case. Hit the enter key to create a keyframe into animate, so we're back at the default positions. Let's go to File, save this scene as Local Control 7.